So let's get it started.
Yeah,
So, Akshay, talk about your end-to-end experience in data visualization and BI space.
sure. I will start with my introduction first. My name is Akshay. I have completed my bachelor's in electronics and telecommunications engineering in 2015, and I hold around 8 years of experience. So, initial 1.5 year I was into telecom, and later I switched into the data analytics domain. So, considering my overall experience, I worked in the different domains like e-commerce, retail, and banking domain. And throughout my experience, I closely work with the client to understand the business requirement, and based on that I help them out with the writing of the custom SQL and giving them a relevant data to fulfill their report requirement basically. So I have good exposure on SQL and developing the Tableau dashboard for the end customer, where I have developed around 15 plus different Tableau dashboards for the retail and the e-commerce client, and implemented the row level security as well. So at my current project, I was one of the lead and worked as did a Tableau migration activity from Tableau server to Tableau cloud. So it was around 700 plus workbooks I had migrated, and 3000 plus user base data we had migrated from the Tableau server to Tableau cloud. So in this process I got chance to explore the REST API and some automation using the Python, where I had created the flow to extract and publish the workbooks at a Tableau cloud site, which were high in size, using the script, and automated some refresh extract, like executing the refresh at Tableau cloud site whenever the backend SQL job is created or completed for the database. So apart from that, I have also got chance to work on existing Tableau dashboard where the tuning of the performance was required. So I had tuned any dashboards which were lagging in terms of performance. And apart from that, in few project I also developed the NiFi pipeline and Ultrix workflow to get data from the server side, to do some transformation in between, and then push that data to Tableau server side. And later stage, like, I had developed the Tableau dashboard for the same. So yeah, this is what in nutshell I have done.
Got it. How much you will rate yourself in SQL out of 10?
So on the scale of 10, I would rate 8 in SQL.
Okay. So let me give you a scenario. I will be sharing my screen quickly with new data. Hope you can see it.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. So I want number of rows to be returned by inner join,
Mm-hmm.
left, right, and pull.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so considering the inner joint, I'll give me a second to recalculate. So we have employee and a department, and we have one, two, three. So for inner joint, we get uh, three records, like one, and two. For the left join, I'm considering the employee table as a left join. So in that scenario, I'll get one, two, and three. So I'll get four record, one, two, and last one for the null. And for the right join, I'm considering the department as a right side table. So in that case, I'll get one, two, three, four, five records. One, two, one, two, three, four. Yeah, five records. And for full, I'll get the Cartesian product. It would be 1, 2, 3, 4 into 1, 2, 4. So we'll get 1, 2, 6, 7. I think around 7 record I'll get. 1, 2, 3, 9. Around 9 or 10 10 I think. 10 record I'll get for the partition product.
Just review it one more time.
For inner we have 1, 2, 3 record, correct. Then for the left side we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and last one is 5. For the left we get 5. Just a second, I'll have to do it on paper. It's a bit tricky. Give me a second. Just 1, 1, null, 1, 2, 3, null. So for left I get 1, 1, 2, and null. So 4 record in the left side. For the right side I'll get 1, 1, then 2, then for null, and for 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 for the right. For the inner I'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 record for the inner, and for full outer 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 12. And for the null I'll get one more record, so 13 record will be for the Cartesian product. Yeah. One, 3.
Okay, so for full outer join, you are saying you will be getting 10 rows,
13.
13 rows. It won't be cross join. It is not cross join. It is full outer join.
I'm a bit not sure about the null, but it would be somewhere around that number.
Okay. No worries. Okay, I'm giving you another scenario. You have same employee table, okay, sitting here,
Okay.
and then you have a joining date, okay. Then you have joining date, like you think of, right, joining date having duplicates, like 7th for this, right, 8th July for this, 9th July for this, something like that. Okay. Now you need to write a SQL for me, which gives me only one for each employee with its joining date.
Only
Only one row for each employee.
Okay. Okay.
So like it should be something like this: 1, 2, 3, null, and then it should be their joining date, like 7th July 2020.
Yeah.
So like this, okay.
So we can do the distinct employee ID, and we can order.
Can you write the SQL and ping me?
Yeah. I'll type in the comment box and share. like this. I just shared in the comment box.
Let me check. Have you heard of partition?
Yeah, we can also apply
Can you
partition.
do
Yeah, I'll try
can
that.
you do it using partition?
So let's stop. So this is also one way where we are applying the Windows function on the employee ID. Like I'm applying the row number and
Mhm.
partitioning it by employee ID. So if employee ID is repeated, it will give the 1 2 as a row number, and we are passing the condition where the RN equal to 1, so it will only pass the first record of the employee.
Okay, so basically it will take first row
Hmm.
for each employee.
Yeah, so it will apply the fresh rank
And
on each employee, so we get a unique employee in the output.
okay, but joining date from the subquery is row number equal to one. Okay, got it. Do you know why we use common table expressions?
Yeah, yeah. When we have some complex SQL and we need to call that output, or we need that repeatedly in our SQL query, so in that case we can use the CT, like with table expression we can define multiple tables also, and we can use them to write our for the SQL query. So that way it does create a timetable, and it execute once, so it also good at performance point of view, and it also help to get rid of complex SQL. Like instead of writing multiple complex queries multiple time, we can define that within the table expression, and we can call them out whenever we need in further part of SQL query.
Okay. Why you feel it is performant?
So it does create a timetable once it is run, and it doesn't execute those lines repeatedly, so we can access that timetable repeatedly in our further part of SQL. So instead, if we are doing a traditional method, so whenever we are writing the same bunch of queries repeatedly, it does take time to load the query. So that point of view, it helps.
Okay. How it is different from common table expression? Sorry, from temporary tables.
So timetable is, it generate a timetable, like once the script is run, it does create a timetable within the SQL environment, and it stored that table while running the query. So once we executed the query, we get some subset of data out of the CTE expression, and we can use, or we can recall it at multiple time whenever we need.
Okay. Can you talk about the Tableau architecture part um,
Mhm.
over the experience you have about?
So like
How does it look like? Yeah.
so uh, it's very wide, like based on the different audience level. Tableau does hold different products, like the Tableau desktop for the developers, Tableau reader for the business users who read the report specifically, or the Tableau public, who where we can store our data, but irrespective of any restrictions, anyone can access it. And the Tableau server and Tableau clouds comes for the commercial use or business use, where we can store the workbook or report, but with some sort of restrictions over there. So it all the way, it's a good hierarchy considering the data security and data governance point of view. It does also help us to keep the confidential information of the data, like if we follow the traditional Excel method, where we used to share the report in form of Excel file, so we does share the data along with the report also. So Tableau helps in that case, where we can restrict the data and control the access and permissions based on the audience and all. So considering the any BI solution, Tableau gives a very good feature and a good solution out of it. Yeah.
Got it. What type of licenses we have in Tableau?
So based on the site role or user thing, like if we have we do have multiple type licenses.
Based on the user, and then why we should use, right? What is the use case for each license?
Yeah, yeah. So we have multiple kind of licenses, like the creator, then admin level, and the viewer or the explorer, and explorer with publishers. So it always comes with the roles and responsibility of the user. If the one has to maintain a Tableau site and maintain the workbooks along with the all permissions, and in that case we consider admin level access and admin license, so that that particular person can control the entire site along with the maintenance, backup, and user level permissions. If anything goes wrong, he can manage as per his access level. So it is a topest hierarchy, where we can give grant all the access to admin level, so he can do everything that comes into his role. Second one is like explorer with publisher, where the person can create a workbook within the Tableau server or Tableau cloud environment and publish it, but it doesn't hold all the access the way the Tableau admin hold. It has a project level permission, where he can only manage the workbooks under his project folder, and give or grant access to the underlying users. He can also create and edit the workbooks within his project and publish it or overwrite it based on his access. The third one comes only explorer. That user only can toggle around the different workbooks, falls under the specific project, and only can access the data. He can download the data, but he cannot make any change or save it, because he can only explore the license, explore the workbooks. And the last one comes, it's only viewer, the end audience, who can only read the report. but he cannot modify it, or he cannot download the report basically. So that's how it comes with each and every individual
What is the
requirement.
difference between viewer and explorer then?
So explorer can read the report, he can edit it, but he cannot save it in the environment. Viewer can
Mhm.
only read the report, he cannot edit it.
Okay, got it. Do you know when we use custom SQL in Tableau, and where does the process happen? Does it happen at Tableau memory level or database level?
Okay, so it does execute from Tableau memory, but it does run on database level. So when we have a very low data, low in terms of size, and we have a requirement when we need some immediate changes in SQL. So in that case, we go with the custom SQL, where we can quickly modify our logic in the Tableau itself. So what happens when we write any custom SQL in Tableau? It does store that SQL, but it execute that, it trigger that task in the data source or database level. So in the database, and that query got actually runs and throws the output at Tableau environment, and then Tableau shows the respective charts and all things. So it does create a load at backend side. So Tableau just triggers that event from Tableau side to execute that bunch of query, but it happens at backend, and then output comes back to the Tableau.
Okay. So basically, as per you, we use custom SQL when we have frequent changes at a data source level. Is that correct?
uh,
Or do you feel there is another use case for that?
yeah, there are multiple use case where we have a, like, one of the requirement is like frequent change in SQL. Second one is like if we have a live connection, or if we have a low data volume, and we can use the custom, or if we have to add any another table from another from the same data source, or maybe we need to create some sort of data modeling within this custom SQL. In that case also we can use it. When that happen, when it is not feasible at a backend side, but we have to do some changes, or joining in the custom SQL at Tableau server side. In that case also we does use it.
Okay. What is the difference between joining,
Mm-hmm.
join relationship and blending?
Okay, okay.
And why you go with each?
Yeah, yeah. So we prefer join if we have the similar kind of data model available at the both table. Data model in the sense granularity of the both data set is same. In that case, joining is a good choice. But once we join the table in the Tableau, it is a static. Like once we define the condition, it will not change whatever visualization we develop further. So it remains same. But in that case, if the model is different, or let's say if the granularity of the data between the two table is different, so it creates a duplicate record. So that creates some unexpected results whenever we develop any calculation. In that case, we can prefer to go with the relationship. So relationship does identify the common attribute and perform the joining on the logical level. So it helps when we have the some discrepancy in the data model itself. Like if the granularity is different between the two table, it does auto adjust it. And it helps whenever we create any visualization further. So it manipulates its relation condition within the relationship and give us a most accurate result. So that happens in relationship. And the blending comes when we have the two different data sources, and we need data from those two bit in the Tableau. So in that case, we go with the blend operation. Again, in the blend, it is expected that we may have the different granularity between the data set. So that's why it first aggregates the data and perform the joining, and based on that joining we can create the visualization. And here we again have more flexibility, like based on our visual, it does auto link the attributes between the two subset of data that we are blending. So based on that, it does change its joining condition also. So it creates linking and dislinking. We get some sort of hyperlink symbol on the field which we are using between the two data sets. So that does change based on our visualization level what we are creating. So that's the difference between all these three things.
Okay. Coming to blending and relationship, right?
Mhm.
Which you have been using much and why?
So relationship is like if we have table from the same data source, then we can go with relationship. But blending, if we have the different data sources, like one is from on-prem and second is from external Excel file or a cloud platform, so in that case we can use the blend operation.
Okay, so out of three, which one is faster?
Mhm.
Blending, joining, and then this relationship.
So joining is, as per my experience, joining is much faster compared to I mean relationship is faster compared to join and blending. Blending comes with some restrictions, like we cannot build complex calculation between the blended table. It does give some restrictions, so relationship works well in that case.
Okay, so as per you, relationship is the fastest one.
Hmm.
Uh, okay. And how you have got to know that relationship is the fastest one?
Fastest one in the sense like it does uh, auto adjust the joining, and we can go with, I mean,
Uh,
whenever we create
from
any.
data retrieval point of view,
Yeah, yeah.
from data, we have to generate the report which is the fastest.
Hmm. We get quick output in the relationship. Joining also works
Okay.
well, but when we have the complex data model at the back end side, so all depends on scenarios. Like I also use the joining in multiple projects where we had a separate access list that needs to be joined with the actual data set. So in that scenario, I had used joining also instead of relationship.
Okay, got it. Uh, have you worked on LOD in tab? If yes, then what was the use case for that?
Yeah, yeah. So basically, there are three types of level of details, like fixed, include, and exclude. For one of the use case that I had used a fixed level of detail, and the requirement was the client wanted to develop the currency neutral chart where he wanted to show the USD converted amount for each currency pair based on the year and the month which were in the filter. So he had a mid-rate data maintained in a different Excel file along with the dates, and he wanted to get a average mid-rate from that data based on the date they selected, and that average mid-rate needs to be dragged used to calculate the total converted USD amount. So that was the flow. So what I did, I created a if fields condition, and if fields in the average I created a level of detail calculation based on my parameter. Like in the parameter I have created the year and the month. If my year and month is matching with the date, year and date, month, then I had a fixed LOD based on the month, and then I passed the aggregation of measure like average of mid rate, and based on that condition, if I'm selecting any particular date of the month, so output should return the average of the mid rate for the entire month. So I use that calculation in the subset in the Excel file, like in another worksheet, and use that to create a, I mean to use that to create another calculation where I have to multiply with the USD converted amount, like for the each currency pair. And I had used it and created the bar chart for that, so client could see the year over year and month over month currency converted amount with reference to each currency pair. So yeah, that way it worked well, and I had developed it. And for one more use case, I had used to calculate the Z ratio, where the client wanted to create a calculation of the total revenue across the year. So the calculation was I had they had 17 different columns, 17 different filter basically in the visual. And to get good hold on underlying data, we had to use a fixed level of calculation by passing all the 17 dimension, and then aggregation of the USD converted amount, the sum of the USD converted amount in the fixed LOD, and I divided that with the total USD converted amount. So that way it thrown the ratio across all the region, and created a multiple line chart for this in the visualization. So these two I had built in the recent project.
Okay. Okay. So the last one which you are saying that you have been generating average of for each currency, correct?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. And each currency means for different region.
Yeah, if any transaction happening between the different countries like the Europe and UK, or the Europe or USA, so it should return in the currency pair like USD Euro and then converted amount like that. So for all the currency pair I had to develop that calculation.
Got it. What type of security is present in Tableau? And which kind of security you have implemented?
uh, you mean the row level security, like restricting the data?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it comes
Does
to.
do
Mhm.
we have only row level security only in Tableau? We don't have any object level security or sheet level security or column level security in Tableau?
Up to certain extent we can do a column level security, but it depends. uh, but it does replace the fields, like we can create a group, and we can create a condition. If any user is part of a specific group, then it should show certain column. For example, if there is a marketing team and we have to only uh, show the discount number to the marketing team, not the sale number, not the sales figure, then we can only give if the user is part of marketing group, like if it he's member of the marketing, then it will show discount, else null. So that way in the visual, whenever any person from that team access the same report, that column will show nothing. So that way we can create a column level security, like he cannot see the sales data or the discounted data based on our condition. And when it comes to row level security, we can restrict the data on the record type. If we have the global level report and we don't want, we and also we have the different regional data into the report, and we don't want to see the person from one region to see the data from the another region, then we can create a user group and AD group and map those user to the respective regional group. And then if we can use those in the data source level. In the data source level we can put that filter. So whenever a person from a specific region, let's say region A, is accessing that report, he will be able to see the data belongs to region A only. He cannot see the other data. So likewise it will apply to all the regional user. So that way also it works. So in that case we create the active directory group and map the user to those group, and also create one backend SQL table where we create the access control list like a region, username, and map them with the help of joining condition to the actual data that we have in the Tableau. So whenever user logs into the Tableau server side or Tableau cloud side, so based on his username, it does create it, through the mapping he will be able to see the relevant data only. So that's how it works in the row level security. It is a central level, but on the minor level also we can create using the user level filter. In the Tableau server side we can drag and drop the user group or username and allow them to access for a specific attribute in the Tableau desktop before sharing the report at Tableau cloud sites. So that is also one way to implement the row level security.
Got it. Do you know what is the difference between normalization and denormalization in data warehousing?
Yeah. So when it comes to normalization, it means we have a big data, like huge data, and we are making it more integrated format, like we are dividing that data into smaller format based on the is relationship between the different columns. We do define certain rules, like there are around 6 different rule in normalization, where we do identify if row should not contain more than one value. I mean, the column should not contain more than one value, or there should be a single dependency between the column to the one single column that could be called as a primary key. And we can create a multiple tables like this. If there is a dependency, we can cut them and create a separate table. So that's how it follow in all the rules in the normalization. So in nutshell, we are cutting the table into or splitting the table into smaller part, which is integratable, like in further part of the SQL. So that is normalization. And denormalization is exactly reverse of it. We If we have multiple tables in our data warehouse, then we do integrate it and create a big table where we can read it based on our SQL. So we prefer to go with the denormalized table after the normalization to develop any dashboard, basically, because we do apply certain joining condition between the tables in ER. So that's how it works.
Got it. So, what kind of conditional formatting have you done at Tableau level? Like how you use toggle. Can you talk about one of the complex
Mhm.
right, dashboard altogether, right? Where you have used toggle, conditional formatting, and rest of the features of Tableau.
So for one of the dashboard, I had created the conditional formatting. The ask was the user wanted to see the updated record, count of updated record for his underlying venues. He had a global level access, and he wanted to monitor whether all the data sources are running fine or not. So based on that, he had certain thresholds in his offline system. So what I did, I connected all the data source to the single Tableau in single Tableau workbook, and created a heat map where I had used the formatting, color formatting based on his threshold, and use that threshold to decide if my count of the record of particular data sets is higher than the threshold, it should show in the green. Uh, if it is higher, it should show green, or it should show red. So that formatting I had created in the calculation field, and applied that on color fill, and that way it's shown in the heat map itself if he has any particular venue running below the threshold or higher the threshold. So that way we had implemented one tracking system. Along with that, he also wanted to see the total count for last 7 days only, as we had the data from the year over year. So I created the Windows function, and using the date function within it, I from the today date to last 7 date of data I had used, I managed to show in the visual, and also created a parameter to control that last 7 days. If he wanted to see for the last 30 days, 60 days, whatever it may be, so that flexibility I gave through the parameter using the calculated field, and that went well. So that's one formatting that I had done, and it also comes with a challenge. Yeah, so there are multiple type of things that I had done like this in across the
Oh,
experience.
okay. No. Got it. Got it. Which one is faster, live or extract? And which one, when we should prefer the live connection or extract?
So extract does load quickly if we have the high data volume and complex query. In that case, we can go with the extract connection, and but the issue is we have to reschedule it. Like we can schedule it on daily, monthly, or weekly basis based on our requirement, and that way it does work good. But if the data size is high, live works well if the data size is low and requirement is we have to track some live activities. So in that case, we can go with the live connection. But if we have a huge data volume and some complex query in the custom SQL or the in the calculation, so in that case it creates performance related issues in live connection.
Correct. If you have you performed any DQ level of task, data quality level task in Tableau level? If yes, right, can you talk about few of them which you have performed?
Data quality in the sense the getting more accuracy in the data, like irrespective of the changes in backend
Correct,
or
getting the right data. Like uh,
is
few data quality checks you must be doing, right?
yeah, yeah.
Avoiding nulls or something like that, all those things. Can you talk about those?
Yeah, so actually I had followed that while developing the Tableau dashboard. Let's say I got certain requirement, and based on that I do create a subset of data and create my calculations out of it. So parallelly I do check with the end customer or the stakeholder who follow the similar kind of offline model, and I do cross validate with them whether my calculation is matching, or my output of my calculation is matching with their offline system or not. So I do try to find out the gap and the discrepancy between the output. So if they have certain condition, like you said, like nulls are there, so I check with them what to do with those null, or if we can replace the null with certain something else. So that I do follow, and based on that I create or manipulate that condition in my calculation. Second, I also do check with the backend also if they have some discrepancy in terms of refresh. Let's say my calculations are fine, everything is good, but it's not showing the results which is up to date. So in that case there could be some issues in the historical data, it could not be refreshed for certain period of time. So I do validate that for each period of interval, like for the looking at the total count of record for each period, month wise or year wise. And based on that I identify like for which specific time frame we have very lower number of count, but it is not matching with the stakeholders record. So in that case I do check with the DBA team to get that data updated in backend. So that way it helps to deliver the most accurate result at front end side. So that is one way I do follow. Yeah.
Okay. Got And do you want to ask anything else also, or
No,
problems with them? I
i'm
don't know.
I'm fine actually. I would wait for the feedback. Yeah.
Okay. Great then. Okay. All the best to you. Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot for your time.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bye.